Hello, Free Leaguers. Welcome to the Free League update for July 2021. This is our monthly broadcast where we kind of keep you up to date on all things Free League publishing, whether it's new releases, pre-orders, Kickstarters, just everything that we've got going on at Free League Publishing. We try to keep you in the loop. Before we begin, there are a couple things that I would ask that you do if you haven't done so already. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell notification, and you'll be notified every single time we go live or upload new content. And we really greatly appreciate the YouTube community here that is kind of gathered while we can't kind of get together in person, or at least most of us can't. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too with some of the gentlemen that are going to be at UK Games Expo, which you might have already seen already on the show, but I'm really excited about it. Before we get to talking about UK Games Expo, I just want to make folks aware that we did announce yesterday an upcoming Kickstarter on August 3rd. The Book of Beasts and the Bloodmarch books for Forbidden Lands are coming to Kickstarter August 3rd. So make sure to check that out. I did put the link to the upcoming Kickstarter in the description of this video, so please click on that and you can hit follow, and you'll be notified once that goes live. It's going to be amazing. I've seen some of the art already previewed, and yeah, it's if you're a big fan of Forbidden Lands, this is an expansion you're definitely not going to want to miss. I'll also let folks know that Alberetor, The Haunted Waste for Symbaroum launched officially this month. We did a session with Matthias Johnson-Hauck and last week. So if you haven't already checked that out, go check that out. It was great. We call it the Symbaroum Symposium, or we call it SimSim for short. Go check those out. That was a really great session. He talked about the Haunted Waste, as well as he gave updates on the Ruins of Symbaroum for 5e. So if you have backed or pre-ordered either of those books, go check those out. Check that session out. It was a lot of fun. And then we also did a fellowship forum with Francesco and Martin for the One Ring. So if you are excited about the One Ring and knowing the progress of that, they talked a little bit about the beta PDF, and they kind of gave you an updated timeline as far as the production for the One Ring Kickstarter. So go check those out. I'll put little annotations here if you're watching this after the fact, and you can just click on those. And yeah, that's pretty much the stuff that we've got going on at Free League Publishing as far behind the scenes. Twilight 2000 is still, I think it's still in production, on the way. I think it's being shipped possibly. I know a lot of folks are receiving their Colonial Marines operations manual for Alien. That's finally hitting doorsteps, and then that'll have an official launch here shortly as well. I don't think we've publicly made a release date for that, but I believe it probably will be in August. Don't hold me to that. Of course, we usually have Thomas on here to give us the official words on all these things. So, yeah, excited for stuff. If you're excited for the Forbidden Lands Kickstarter, let us know in the comments. And we're going to be doing a talk with Thomas next week, August 4th. To give you a little more details on the Book of Beasts and the Bloodmarch for Forbidden Lands once that Kickstarter launches and it has had its first day. All right. Well, the other thing that we've got going on here at Free League Publishing is that starting, I believe, tomorrow. Is it tomorrow, gentlemen? No, it's Friday, right?
Friday.
Well, it's Friday for the general public.
For the public,
right.
Tomorrow.
It's for you guys. It's for setting up and everything. It's tomorrow. UK Games Expo is happening, and I thought I would bring on the dynamic duo of the Effect Podcast. I'm gonna let folks debate as to who's Batman and who's Robin in this duo, but.
I'm Batman.
No, you're not. You're the butler.
But Dave and Matt, you guys are doing the UK Games Expo for Free League Publishing.
Yeah, and this is the first year that the Free League guys haven't been able to come themselves. So yeah, it's going to be just us, like Dragon Meet a couple of years ago.
Nice.
We are the extended family of Free League this weekend.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
It's
And you are, of course, Dave, Free League's pro writer, who's running the How to Write Like a Pro workshop.
I am, yes. So on the Friday at 12 o'clock in the Piazza Suite, I'm doing a 1-hour workshop called Writing Like a Pro. Somehow they ended up with me doing it, so but that'll be fun. You can sign up for that and come along. So there's plenty of spaces left.
Excellent. I told Anna, of course, I'm going to be doing the most of the U.S. events here in a few months. In September, we'll be at Dragon Con and Gen Con and Origins. And I've said to her on Monday when we had our conference call, I said, Dave and Matt are kind of our convention guinea pigs to see how this is all going to play out, since we haven't had conventions in quite some time. So I think I've mentioned this a few times. I'm really excited to see, the response to UK Games Expo and how I think folks are really kind of chomping at the bit to do something, instead of being at home all, for these last,
I think
months or so.
I think there's a real mixed feelings in the wider audience. I think some people are still worried that, they may well be shielding somebody at home, or they may have underlying health conditions themselves. And they're saying, I don't think this year is the year I want to go to UK Games Expo. But on the other hand, loads of others are saying, God, let me out of the house. I want to see somebody. I want to game across the table. Games Expo themselves are taking quite a lot of precautions, and so are we. So one of the things that Thomas decided is that this year we wouldn't be running any games. So we're, Freely didn't want to encourage fondling each other's dice and possibly transmitting COVID that way.
Did wonder what you were going to say there for a moment.
I was going to say this is a family-friendly show.
A family show, yeah. But we're keeping it. Now you're starting me on the double entendres. I'm finding it really hard to fight them down. But I will.
But no. So those who were there the last time UK Games Expo ran physically would have seen that we ran a load of Alien games at the booth. We were wanting to do that this time, but with Thomas's concerns taken on board, we're not going to be doing that, which is a pity, but I think it's the cautious, sensible thing to do. But we're still there. And talking of the Colonial Marines Operations Manual, you were saying at the start, Doug, that this lovely book is going to be released officially soon. If you come to the UK Games Expo, you might find that we've got some of these tucked away that we might be able to sell you if you're not pre-ordered. So come along, find us. If you want to get your hands on this and you haven't got it yet, we're the people for you to come and talk to.
Very nice.
And Alberetor as well.
Absolutely. And The Haunted Waste.
Excellent. Yeah, both of those books have been really. I keep seeing posts every day of folks receiving their copies, and it's really excited. Everybody's been very positive. I know the Colonial Marines Operations Manual took a little bit longer than we had anticipated, but everybody seems to be in agreement that it's been worth the wait, because it's just a top-notch book.
Well, that's squarely Drew Gasker's fault, because he doesn't know when to stop bloody writing. He's got so much stuff in his head. He just writes and writes and writes. Word count limits? Nah, sod those. Don't worry about those. But yes, it's packed full of goodies and good stuff.
It is, yeah, definitely. I'm excited. Drew and I are going to be doing Dragon Con the beginning of September. So
nice.
I think I've got 5 days with Drew. So, or actually, you know what? Drew's got 5 days with me.
I think that might be
that's probably the right way to put that. But I'm really excited to be there with Drew and promote all the stuff that he's been doing with Alien. Let's talk a little bit about how you guys were put in this position for representing Free League, because I think that's important. A lot of folks probably were like, well, why are Dave and Matthew, the guys that, that represent Free League? And I know you've been, big fans and cheerleaders and supporters of Free League since, almost the beginning. It's been quite a few years that you've been creating content and really been an advocate for Free League and wanting to get their name out there. Do we want to talk a little bit about that?
It's a great story, isn't it, Dave?
It's not a bad one. Well, let me start it, because once Matt starts talking, he'll never shut up. So I'll hand over to him in a moment.
That me saying it's a great story, isn't it, Dave, is passing the buck to you.
Yeah, but you don't pass the buck for long, do you, mate? So our exposure to Free League started in a shop in London called Orc's Nest, where about 5 years ago, I went into the shop looking for a present for myself for Christmas. Found this game called Mutant Year Zero. Thought, never heard of that before. Bought it, loved it. Coriolis came out. I forced Matthew to back it because I wanted him to run the game so I could actually
At his wedding, he spent the entire... Well, it felt to me like he spent the entire evening persuading me to buy Coriolis rather than speechifying with his wife or whatever was making me
Well, there are important things to deal with on that day, and getting you to back Coriolis was one of them. So I'd like to just point out the present, the wedding present I got from Matthew was that.
Oh, nice.
So, as I said, it's about the best wedding present I've ever had. Yes, so from that, Matthew then had the bonza idea of us starting a podcast to talk about Coriolis. We did that about 4 years, 3 years? How many years ago?
I guess it's 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
Almost. It's a bit over, in fact.
And one of the first things we wanted to do with that was go and speak to the guys in Sweden. So we had a fabulous couple of days in Stockholm with them, and it just kind of went from there. We were helping them. We offered to help them with UK Games Expo. We offered to help them with Dragon Meet. We then rolled into the wonderful position actually that they trusted us enough to talk to us about Alien before it was public news.
Well, so we had to sign an NDA, didn't we? So the exciting thing was...
Okay, so this is the point where Matt just talks over me and then takes over. So go on, mate. I'm used to it. It's fine.
So Nils contacted us and said, we'd like to talk to you about a thing, but, can we get you to sign an NDA first?
We can't tell you what it is yet. Yeah.
We said, fine. And we got the NDA. But immediately, as soon as you're getting an NDA, you know that these lovely guys we met at Free League, they're not that protective of their own IP, so it had to be somebody else's. Sure. And we were speculating what it might be. And I can't remember, but you had a few things that you hoped it might be, including, of course, The Thing, which is the game you're determined to see at some point. But Alien was in there as well. And then NDAs having been sent off, when we got the email back from Nils and I read that it was Alien, I imagined you, Dave, jumping around your kitchen for joy. Was that the scene?
I don't really jump around for joy very much.
No, he's a dour fella.
But yeah, it was a great choice. It was a great move for Free League to go for that, despite I think it carrying some risk for them at the time, but it's obviously paid off brilliantly well.
It really did. Like when they told me that they were doing Alien, it was of course we've been familiar with the Year Zero engine and everything, and I really I sat there and I was excited that they acquired that license, and that was a really big license, and that is a very large following, and I knew how much it would get that Free League name out there to the general public, to a lot more folks than it had already known. It really got me wondering how they were going to tweak the Year Zero engine for Alien, because Alien has a specific theme. Like, it has a specific tone. Like, and yeah, Year Zero engine games are usually pretty gritty and kind of, but for me, they didn't have that Alien feel. And so it really kind of made me wonder how the heck are they going to change this, rule system to make it feel like that? And holy smoke, they blew away all my expectations.
And that was the beauty of it. Of course, we got an early version of that not so early, not like it was a Word document or anything. It was laid out, an early PDF version of those rules. And we raved over them and realized how good it was going to be. So that was exciting. But what they wanted us to do was to run some demo games at that year's UK Games Expo. And so that's what we were sort of scheduled to do. And that's kind of then how we got into supporting them at cons like this.
Nice.
So, of course, they sent over then Nils, Matthias Johnson Hawk, and
Martin
Martin
came,
Grip, which is great.
I mean, I always thought that Martin Grip was like this mysterious, person that didn't have like. I never get a chance to see him actually in person. I'm super jealous that.
No, he's great. Absolutely. We saw him in Sweden as well. He's lovely bloke.
There's an interesting little story there. So when we went over to talk to the Free League guys, Yen Ringen was still a thing, and so we managed to get ourselves a meeting with Matthias Lilia and Martin from Yen Ringen, and we agreed to meet them on a street corner in Stockholm before going for lunch, and we were stood there as you do, not knowing what Martin looked like, not knowing what Matthias looked like, looking a bit kind of, a bit creepy, hanging around. And there was another guy stood there, and he was kind of looking at us in a funny way. We were looking at him in a funny way. And I think, did we say to him, "Are you Martin?" And he went, "Yes." But it was a totally wrong Martin.
Oh, no. Was it?
And then Martin
What are the chances? What are the odds of that happening?
And Martin then walked up. And I thought, "You're Martin, aren't you?" And he was like, "Who's this guy?" Like, we have no idea. So we had to apologize to that poor fellow for the strange, weird situation.
That's great.
And then we had a fabulous lunch, and it was great chatting to them. It was real good. Martin is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He's just such a nice guy. Really, really top guy.
He seems to be, yeah. And hopefully one of these days I'll get a chance to actually meet him in person rather than just electronically.
But we ran games back to back, but we also helped out behind the till, as it were, selling games. And I think, without blowing our own trumpet too much, they were quite impressed with how good we are at selling the games we love, which shouldn't be surprising because they're games we love. I mean,
sure.
Not like we're selling any old tat. So we spoke enthusiastically about them. And I know I definitely sold a few games of Tales from the Loop to people that weren't necessarily looking at it. And so
yeah, if we were The Apprentice, the TV program The Apprentice, Matt would be winning on the salesman task, because he's a good salesman. He does, as everyone can tell, he doesn't shut up. So he just talks you into the ground until you agree to buy something.
I find out the person's needs, and I find a game that best suits their needs.
No doubt, and I think that's not only are you gentlemen, and I hope I also exemplify these same qualities. I think that as far as your presentation of the games is very top notch and everything, but I think you love the games that you're selling, and not only that, but I think you care about the community. Not only for your Effect podcast, but for the Free League. I know I do. And it's a huge honor to be a part of this YouTube community and be kind of the person that gets to schedule all these events for folks to kind of take in all this YouTube, all the Free League YouTube content. I love being a part of this community, and so whenever somebody comes up and it has never been introduced to our Free League games, that's a real honor to me to be able to be oh, this is super awesome. And to have someone be a part of that, because our communities are just so positive.
Yeah.
And I think
it's so great to kind of bring more people into that.
I think it's really important. And I think that's one of the reasons why we wanted to start the podcast, the Effect podcast, the Coriolis Effect podcast back in the day, because we loved Coriolis so much. We wanted to make sure it carries on. We're not dissing the other games here that they produce, because they're all great,
not in the slightest. Yeah.
And we wanted to grow that community. And I think actually in role playing, those communities are important. Of course, Free League itself was part of the fan community for the first edition of Coriolis that Jan Ringen had put out. Totally different rule set, but that setting, they loved that setting. They wanted it to carry on after the first version of Jan Ringen decided to give up publishing. And you look at, say, the RuneQuest community. So, that's been going for 40 years. But Chaosium now is run by people who are fans of RuneQuest 20, 30 years ago. And frankly, it was saved by them financially. Yeah. So I think these communities are really important to the games we love. And hopefully we can build a community for Free League games that's as strong as the fan community for Chaosium was when it needed their help.
I think the other thing that we've often said is the great thing with Alien in particular, because it's such a big name and everybody knows it, it's brought a lot of people to the hobby who had never role played before in their lives, and I think that's a really good thing. I think the more people we can get in to try it, not all of them will like it, but a lot of them seem to, and it's great. I think it's brilliant.
Absolutely. Let's get to some of the questions and comments here. Fenhorn wants to know, so any updates on 2K, on Twilight 2000, Vaesen, Tales from the Loop, the board game, etc. Fenhorn, is pretty much, it's still the same information as what we had previously from last month. So nothing really new as far as that's concerned. I'm pretty sure Twilight 2000 is wrapping.
I think it's imminent. I think there was a chance a couple of months ago that we might have been selling it at UK Games Expo.
Yeah, it's not far off. I don't think.
So it can't be far off though. So I think backers will be hearing about that quite shortly. Don't know when exactly.
Exactly. And then nothing official on Vaesen. The Tales from the Loop board game is still kind of the same situation as Twilight 2000. So
I think
I think that's further away
from managers. Well, I'm not sure because there's been some pledge manager stuff going through around confirming details. So wherever that is in the process of getting it delivered,
we had a relatively recent Kickstarter update though that said that they're only getting proof copies from China so far.
Are they? Okay. So
if hopefully that's not going to be very long before they get the real copies, assuming there's nothing wrong.
No. So you don't know actually. We don't. Unfortunately, Thomas couldn't join us this month, but we did want to let folks know that that everything as far as we are concerned is situation normal here. I guess everything's seems to be on the. Seems to be in progress, and if you are a backer of the One Ring or Ruins of Symbaroum, definitely check out the talks that we did last week with both of those sessions. Andrew says the new section of the Free League homepage hasn't had any new entry in months. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to. I know some of the folks are on vacation. They do a summer break. I think most of Sweden does. Is that true, David?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's usually at least a month when the vast majority of Swedes go on holiday in the summer because it's the only time when it shines. The sun shines in Sweden, so they go out and enjoy it while they can.
Sure, absolutely.
They need their vitamin D.
Don't blame them at all. I don't blame them at all. So. Gentlemen, the UK Games Expo. How many years have you been going to UK Games Expo? I know this has been going on for quite some time, but you two, both of you personally, I'm assuming you've been to the event even before you did the podcast.
No, it was our first time when we were running Alien there. So obviously we're closer to London, so the big London convention is Dragon Meet
in
December, and that was our convention pretty much. Obviously UK Games Expo is the biggest in the country, but I guess we didn't really feel we could take the time out, and traveling to Birmingham kind of means an overnight stay and stuff like that, and I just guess we never felt it was worth it. Sorry. But we love it now. I'm sure we'd do it now if we weren't getting paid to do it by Free League.
Yeah, I certainly would actually, because it's one of those where I think beforehand, because it's only been in recent years that after having started the podcast that we've really got more and more of our free time spent on role-playing games. Because previously, because we all live in different parts of the country, we would play 3 or 4 times a year. And so actually making arrangements for a weekend like that just never happened. I don't know why, really. But it's a great convention and it's getting bigger and bigger. I think it's the 14th year this year. And I encourage anybody who feels like coming to get a ticket and come along. It should be a really good show.
Like I said, I'm curious to hear the response, and I think it might exceed the modest expectations from I think most convention organizers have right now. I think folks mostly do these conventions hoping that they break even in 2021 to kind of get them through into once all this pandemic business is over, and so that they can just kind of succeed and have a more normal 2022 event, more normal events in 2022. But I have a feeling that the response is going to be quite unexpected. I think you're going to see a lot of folks that are really just wanting to do something. I think we're starting to see that here in the States, that folks that any kind of event starting to see record numbers because people are just itching to do something at this point.
And I think one of the interesting things about UK Games Expo, because it's 3 days and 2 nights, and some people come for all 3 days. One of our patrons, Bruce, is definitely going to be there for all 3 days. I know that. There's so much gaming going on. And not only are there enormous halls full of tables that are laid on by UK Games Expo, but every single surface in every one of the hotels around the National Exhibition Centre is covered by some board game or role-playing game, and a group of people sitting on little stools around it playing a game. There's so much gaming into the early hours, I assume probably through the night for those of us who are young enough to cope with that sort of thing.
Not me.
But there's a lot of gaming there. So maybe if we ever end up not working for Free League there, it would be actually quite a pleasure to be able to stay up late at night and play some games.
That was another question I was going to have: is do you plan on gaming after hours? I mean, the one thing that folks always tell you is if you want to game and you want to enjoy games and get more gaming, and don't work at a convention, because you never get any time, and usually you're wiped out by the end of the day. But are you planning on doing any type of gaming after hours?
No,
I'm not. No. I don't think.
Okay.
A big thing about being on show to the public is that emotional labor. Smiling is actually. I love to smile, but it's tiring, and I'm pretty knackered by the end of the day. We'll be on our feet all day as well. I think we're not going to have much energy for gaming. Drinking, maybe.
I was going to say, come 7 or 8 o'clock, once we're all finished up, we manage to grab some food, then a few pints, we'll go down a treat, and that'll help us sleep before we have to get up at 6 o'clock the next day to start all over again. I'm not complaining, though. That wasn't because I love it. It's great fun. It is hard work. It is quite full on, but it's brilliant. We get to talk to so many people and have such a good time. It's it's the joy, really.
And the beauty of it is the people who don't like Free League games, they never come to the stall to say, I hate that dice pool system, it's really grotty. Only the people who love the game come to the stall. So all the conversations you have are either introducing games to people who've never heard of it before, or talking about games that people have had with people who love the game. It's wonderful.
That's just, it's so rewarding, and so especially right now, since we're all kind of inside and we can't connect with folks, to get other folks excited. When somebody has a similar interest that they're excited about, to be able to connect with them and in person, and oh man, I just can't wait. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right. I think that's. I apologize to folks for this non-traditional Free League update, but I'm going to...
Before we go, can I just answer Max Mercer's question?
Sure.
Because it's so obvious.
Which question is this?
Max Mercer asks, Dune or Coriolis?
Okay.
And obviously it's Coriolis, isn't it? I mean, one of our patrons had bought the Dune book and is running it in a system of Coriolis. In fact, he's tweaking Coriolis Free League Zero Engine so much that I think it's becoming something new, and he's using conditions from Vaesen and stuff like that. But he's having a great whale of a time running Dune with the Coriolis rules and looking at the pretty pictures in the rule book. But Max, if you've only got one budget for one of those games, then go with your heart. In your heart, we're right.
It is. You see,
that's why Matt is the better salesman.
Hey, you know what? I think he just sold 5 copies online just now.
Let's hope.
Brilliant. And then just another thing to say, actually talking about copies, I had to look at the stock list. There are 3 times as many copies of the Colonial Marines Operations Manual than there are of Alberetor, the Haunted Wastes, in our stock list. So we think Alien's going to be a big hit.
Sure, absolutely. I
also, the other thing I would say is there's a couple of Free League games up for awards at the UK Games Expo.
Oh, so that's true.
Versen is up for the best RPG, and Destroyer of Worlds from Alien is up for the best scenario. So if you like either of those or both of those, go onto the UK Games Expo website, put your votes in, and let's get Free League to be winning those awards.
And you don't have to be attending to.
No, it's all online. It's all online.
Sign into you got to sign into the website, but anybody can sign in.
Yeah.
How long are they leaving the voting open for? Do you know?
I think they're voting up until Sunday.
The awards are announced on Sunday. I don't know at what point they stop the voting, though.
Okay. Excellent. I'm excited to hear the response there, guys. I'm sure we'll keep in contact and have you on again at some point. And I'll definitely reach out personally and see how it was, because I know that no matter what, it'll be a success, because you guys are great folks, and like I said, you do some great work at the Effect Podcast, and you are great champions for the Free League community. So
thank you, Doug.
So brilliant.
I would just say that we're not really guinea pigs. If anybody's been following our Coriolis weekly play on a Monday evening, we would be the capybara. Some people will know what I'm talking about or find that funny. Everyone else, I think I'm a total idiot, and they're probably both right. But yeah.
The other thing I just want to point out before we sign off is 2 days from now will be a year since I've been able to do this for Free League Publishing on YouTube, nice. And I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Thomas, for giving me this opportunity to be a part of the Free League family, and for being able to schedule these and be face of Free League Publishing on the YouTube channel. We've gained over 4,700 members in the last year, and
nice.
We're on
4,700 subscribers. We've got about 470 subscribers an hour. So if you're listening to this, come over to the Effect Podcast YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube.
Oh, look, I remembered I do have a mute button. I forgot about that for a little while. I want to thank you so much to everyone for being a part of this YouTube community. And yes, I know a lot of it is folks from the Effect Podcast community as well. And thank you guys for being a big supporter of what we do. And likewise, we're a big supporter of what you're doing over there at Effect. Thank you.
Congratulations on your anniversary, Doug. That's great.
Oh, thank you. We we're on schedule to hit over 1 million views by the end of the year. Oh, that's incredible. Nice. That's incredible. So
brilliant.
All right. Oh, sure, Matthew. Do you want to give the link?
So it's obviously YouTube/C/Effect Podcast, all one word, and of course Effect is spelt with a K, EFFEKT Podcast. Right. And he's just correcting me on the numbers. It's not 470, it's 428.
I'm still gobsmacked that we got that many, frankly. So it's brilliant.
You guys do great work. So it really is appreciated, both on the Free League side and as far as the community side as well. So thank you guys. All right, that's going to do it for this Free League update. I apologize that it's not the traditional update. Hopefully next week or next month we'll be able to do a more of an official kind of update on all things Free League Publishing. Look out for the Kickstarter on August 3rd for the Forbidden Lands Book of Beasts and Bloodmarch supplement. I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all. It's got some really awesome stuff in there, and we can't wait to share it with you. All right, Matthew, Dave, thanks so much for being a part of this broadcast, and we'll have a great UK Games Expo, and thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you all.